Stoicism, a philosophy that helped the Emperor Marcus Aurelius lead and expand the Roman Empire. Let's take a closer look at Stoicism in order to understand how exactly it can help us improve our lives in the modern world. Believe it or not, the school of thought, which was originally founded around 300 BC, is still developing. Why? Because it's a practical guide meant to teach us how to be happy with your life in given conditions at this particular moment. Stoicism pushes you to manage yourself and make use of your own emotions in a healthy way. Nowadays, in the age of social media platforms, with more distractions than ever, the ability to communicate with yourself, to find and maintain inner peace and balance has become very valuable. By and large, Stoicism philosophy states, although a person can control his own actions, everything that happens to the person is beyond his control. In other words, you cannot control the world. You can only control your reaction to it. So, here are the 7 principles of Stoicism we highly suggest you try out. 1. Gratitude. Despite the Stoics not keeping gratitude journals, they strongly believed in the importance of noticing and appreciating the many good things in life we just take for granted. An amazing technique for cultivating gratitude is what the Stoics called premeditatio malorum, otherwise known as the practice of misfortune. In one version of the practice of misfortune, it is suggested to intentionally experience some form of material deprivation. Take a little food, or eat no food for a day. Pretend you don't have a water heater and take cold showers for a week. This training of discomfort makes you more resilient, but what matters is that you are less likely to take everyday comforts for granted. It also develops your virtue by nurturing compassion for the millions of people who have to live this way all the time. Another version of this technique lies in imagining misfortune. You can't just go out and lose everything you hold dear, but you can at least do an imaginary experiment. Imagine how you would feel if you lost your job, your home, or your partner. Both mentioned exercises will make you more grateful for what you have. Number 2. Desire control. Not all pleasures bring happiness and satisfaction in the long run. A telling example can be displayed by the psychological addiction in social media platforms, food, TV series, and other pleasures. Stoics have several interesting techniques to control such impulses in their arsenal. Analysis of costs and benefits. Take a piece of paper and write down the pros and cons of each sort of pleasure that appeals to you. The idea is to assess the consequences beforehand when your brain is not yet exposed to the attractive stimulus. Thus, you will consciously choose what brings you happiness, not a quick dopamine rush, such as watching new TikToks or a chocolate bar. Emotional detachment. Upon identifying a desire you would like to avoid, try to mentally separate this desire from emotions accompanying it. Think about yourself in the third person. He or she really wants to open Facebook. This may help to see what's happening from the outside and break out of the emotional trap of habit. Distancing from the object of desire. The idea of desire often surpassing the sense of satisfaction we feel when we get what we actually want lies at the heart of this technique. In order to reduce excesses, Marcus Aurelius often practiced distancing himself from food. Instead of devouring the delicacies on the table with his eyes, he mentally described them to himself in unattractive terms: a dead bird, fermented grape juice, etc. At first, these approaches may seem to deprive us of the joy in life, but in fact, they allow us to filter unnecessary temptations, cleanse the receptors of pleasure, and have a better perspective on what we really like and what we really want. Number 3. Failure is not the end of the world. Failures and mistakes are a natural part of life and a highly valuable learning experience. Imagine yourself working on one project for 6 months, but as soon as you finally finished, you get a setback. The work is not accepted. You give up on the matter. You don't want to do it anymore. Analyze your mistakes instead. After all, when we fail, we gain a clear insight into what went wrong and can use that knowledge to improve our future efforts. By identifying areas for improvement and making adjustments to our approach, we further increase our chances of success. Besides, failure helps us gain perspective and reevaluate our priorities. It reminds us of what really matters in life and allows us to appreciate our accomplishments when we make it on top. Therefore, we shift our focus from superficial measures of success to more meaningful and fulfilling endeavors, giving way to a new perspective on our goals. An important note: our mistakes do not define our worth as individuals. They are simply a consequence or result of a certain situation or undertaking. By seeing failure as a stepping stone, not the end of the road, one can turn setbacks into opportunities for growth and keep moving forward toward his goals. So, don't be discouraged by failures. Instead, use the experience as a valuable tool for learning, growth, resilience, building character, gaining perspective, and redefining success. With the right mindset, failure can spur us to greater heights and a more complete life journey. Number 4, give an example. Since childhood, we form our character, habits, and even worldview by observing and repeating the actions of people around us. A natural learning mechanism, right? However, this particular skill helps us even in adult life. Observing someone's actions and lifestyle is a powerful source of learning and inspiration for others. Don't give advice to anyone. Inspire and teach by example. As soon as we receive advice, it may get quickly forgotten, or even cause a defensive reaction. Thoughts like, "Is there something wrong with me?" However, instead a person meets someone who embodies the qualities they admire and aspire to have. Demonstrating these qualities through your actions and lifestyle will inspire you to follow their example. The defensive reaction we may feel when receiving direct instructions for self-improvement is often due to an inflated ego, a detail which Aurelius considered the main human flaw. An inflated ego blocks our personal growth. Realization of this fact brings us to the next Stoic practice: work on self-reflection. This is how we become open to learning based on examples of others. We contribute to personal development. A combination of observing, reflecting, and imitating positive qualities of people we admire allows us to grow and strive to become the best version of ourselves. Number 5, tolerance for discomfort. Now, with the constant development of courier services, even a simple grocery trip causes inconvenience to the average person. We perceive the discomfort that occurs when overcoming difficulties as something negative. In fact, it can be a powerful motivator, the Stoics believed. Both physical and psychological discomfort is meant here. For instance, you start going to the gym but drop out halfway through because your muscles hurt or it's too hard to keep going. In this case, the Stoics' practice can come in handy. Imagine yourself in another role. You are a professional athlete preparing for a marathon. Pain or discomfort for you is just a signal for improving your fitness. Now to the psychological discomfort. For example, when a rather offensive but fair remark was made to you, remember that it's not the circumstances or feelings that throw you out of balance, but the way you perceive them. Instead of personifying a reaction like, "I was offended by this remark," try to mentally give it an impersonal form. Someone made a fair remark to me that caused a reaction of offense. Try to focus on the fact of someone delivering you a fair remark, which means that it's rather useful for you than not. Number 6, time as the most valuable resource. This fact was not only understood 2,000 years ago, but also actively championed it since then. Unfortunately, in an era when hundreds of companies are fighting for our time and attention, it's easy to forget about the notion of time and have an extra hour dedicated to scrolling through social media platforms. Unlike material possessions or wealth, time is a finite and non-renewable asset that is constantly moving forward, a precious commodity that cannot be bought, stored, or returned once it's gone. Have a look at the example of a person who constantly wastes his time, engaging in non-productive activities, procrastinating, or not being able to prioritize his responsibilities. As days, weeks, and years pass, he or she may regret missed opportunities and unrealized potential that could have been mastered if the given time had been used more wisely. On the other hand, There are those who value and respect time and make a conscious decision to choose to invest it in activities that align with their goals, passions, and values. They prioritize their responsibilities, strive for personal growth, and develop relationships that bring them joy and satisfaction. Aware of the scarcity of time, they are motivated to make the most of every precious moment by making thoughtful decisions which align with their aspirations. The value of time is not in its quantification, but in the impact it has on our lives and the opportunities it opens up. Think of it as a constant reminder of how we allocate our energy, as it directly affects our personal and professional achievements, our overall well-being, and our satisfaction with life. Number 7. Smart life. Development of critical thinking. Stoicism puts a strong emphasis on rationality and the use of reason to guide our actions and decisions. Such a way of thinking led the Stoics to seek knowledge and wisdom as a means of understanding the world and themselves. Living according to reason means developing and learning throughout life. Marcus Aurelius highlights the importance of critical thinking, checking one's own assumptions, and acting according to reason. By expanding our knowledge and critical thinking, one can make more grounded decisions, which may significantly improve personal achievements. And now your rational solution would be to subscribe to our channel and watch the next video.